on live.
Hello. Okay.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. This is Karen Newman, and this is the Saturday Human Colony Hucolo webinar. It is Saturday, the 30th of November, 2019, and our special guest today is Sephira. Welcome, Sephira.
Hello. Thank you. Welcome to all of you.
Yeah. So Sephira's been with Human Colony basically since the very beginning. Isn't that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And you channel and you also do healing and you do healing modalities. And so today we're going to talk about the emotion code as well as have you do some channeling. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So why don't we just do our initial formalities and then we'll come back and talk about you and everything. So just because we only have one room today, we don't have Jim's room. I'll just introduce who's here. We have Catalin, we have Christine, Maggie, Dawn, Reinhardt, Scott, and myself, as well as you. And should we start with a blessing?
Sure.
So anyone want to do a blessing? If you do, just say, put your hand in the air and I can wave it like you don't care. I see Reinhardt. Anyone else? Dawn, I see Dawn. Anyone else? Okay.
I will do one too.
Okay, so you can do yours as the last one.
Yeah.
So we'll start with Reinhardt. Go ahead, Reinhardt.
Yaeka mayaka nanakati o ko lai kuna roto. Ayala yuko kono korabi kataka. Aliaka ni koto kuna koto kamakiaraka koto. Ayala kito o kidonoko. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Dawn. You have to unmute yourself, Dawn.
Na akashina na hagat koshe na kahashe na na alekoto na raka na rakoto ra kish na kataka.
Thank you. Okay, I'll do it now. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, no blessings and the light language. So, Sephira, so just for the people who may not know you, why don't you just sort of tell a little bit about just in a 2 to 3 minute thing about how you sort of came into spirituality, how you came into channeling and to where you are today, maybe your background and such, because you have a pretty diverse background.
I do. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Elevator speech.
Maybe take more than 2 minutes, but you know what I mean.
I was not no, I'm kidding. I was saying I was prepared to talk about myself in that way. But thank you for asking, actually. That's very nice. So I was living in Arizona when a friend of mine who was in this little spiritual book club that I used to go to or shop, she said, "Have you heard of Human Colony?" And I've always been interested in aliens. So I'm like, and she explained, it's about contact and visiting aliens and on their ships and everything. So that's how I first got into meeting Human Colony, which is now called Hucolo, as you know. And that was back in 2012 or beginning of 2013. And because at that time, Max was doing Skype meetings. It was very informal. And Jim had just started channeling, I think, like in the middle of it, 2013. Must have been around then that I first heard of it. So that's how I got into meeting Human Colony and then, connected with Jim Charles and everybody else. So that was from middle of 2013 forward. So I grew up on Long Island, New York, and I ended up living mostly on New York till I was 23. Then I was on the West Coast for about 8 years with New York City in between. And then I went to Germany to live as a with my husband, and we had children there. He's Sicilian, had an Italian restaurant in Germany. So I've been traveling, but actually how that all happened is I've been a missionary with different spiritual / religious movements since I'm 18. And so through that, there was a lot of travel involved, whether it was doing, we did all kinds of things. We try to bring together different diverse Christian teachings and denominations along with other religions. We try to always bring them and their leadership together, to dialogue, to find out what do we all have in common, because the biggest impediment to solving world problems is a lack of unity between those who would really want to solve problems together with God and with what their religious understandings say. And so, but because of all this division of a belief system or technicalities, even within Christian denominations, is over 400. So our job was to try and bring all of these denominations and religions together. And I did this. We organized conferences. We went to Israel to do this as well, went to the Eastern Europe, to Hungary, all over. And we would just invite people, go on the street, invite people to a lecture. There was a very, the later part of my life, there was a very clear ideology, but I'm not going to go into that now. But anyway, the idea was to introduce people to, understanding about a deeper relationship to God. And so during this time, I had a lot of spiritual experiences. I could feel myself being touched by spirits. I had an incredible amount of dreams. I could hear them as well. But I had asked God in the very beginning, when I first came into a certain movement, which was very spiritual, I said, I don't want to see. I just don't want to see the spirits, because I grew up in a haunted house. And so I had already this initial fear because the spirits in our house were angry. And so I just didn't want to see. And now I kind of, I'm getting closer to ready to seeing, but it's more auditory, it's more tactile with touch and intuition, things like that. So I used to go to all-night prayer meetings when I was in a very Christian, like early Christian time with a Christian church and movement. And we would do these all-night prayer meetings, and I would feel like people, if you're aware of speaking in tongues, it's like it's one of the gifts of the Holy Spirit that you speak a language you don't know, but normally God provides an interpreter within that group. Otherwise, there's no point in speaking if you don't know what God's saying, if you trust that God is speaking through this. And so I was a very, very shy young person. Like, you would not believe how shy I was, because I seem very talkative right now, but I was so introverted and so shy. But I would get this bubbling in my stomach, and I would hear speak. And I'm like, you know how you, like when people try to channel, you get these like ideas in your head and you just convince yourself it's just you. Oh, it's nothing. I did that for about 10 minutes, and I kept hearing speak. And I was like, but then there was like this fountain which broke out of me, and there was no way. I had to speak. It just became too strong. And then this powerful, loud message came out, which nobody could believe out of this shy girl. But that's how God works, right? So people who you normally don't have those attributes, and you think, well, maybe that was God, maybe. But anyway, so that was really interesting. But, since that time, that was around 21 years of age, I didn't do any channeling, like just conscious channeling the way we now sit here and we receive, spirit or receive energy, we speak their message. I really didn't do that. It was, I wrote songs, I wrote poetry. That was my way of channeling. Did a lot of speaking, did a lot of public speaking, led music, organized choirs. That was like my way of channeling, but not in this way. So it was only when I came back to Human Colony, or came back, to the idea of channeling through Human Colony, that I began to channel again. And the first time I did, it was because there was kind of a crisis in the community and nobody knew what to do. And I'm sitting there, and then suddenly I I just had to. I get this feeling in my stomach and in my heart, and it's like, I have to. And so I gave a message which sort of like helped community with, their calm down and figure things out. So that was the beginning. But I've been in and out in the sense of I've been involved and then I left again for a while, got very involved in work and just things that are very practical for a while. Sometimes I would get frustrated because we would talk about very lofty, lofty things during the channelings and our talks together within our own human colony community. But then it was like, well, okay, so what am I really doing though with all of that? And what are we doing with all of that? So I met some people who were really serving humanity. So I decided, I'm just going to go with them for a while because they're actually doing what we're talking about. And so I would go through periods where, okay, where do I belong in all this? Do I still belong? But as Arnold Schwarzenegger was famous for saying, I am back. And so I went to a workshop about with Jim and the group 2007, was it? Yeah, 2018. And that's where I met Maggie and some other people. And then I started channeling again. And so now I'm going to tie this into what I'm going to do today, what I'm telling you, because one reason I was often so in and out is that somebody would do something which would be for me very, very hurtful. And through that, I would kind of go back into my shell. That was sort of my modus operandi. And it would be very hard for me to come out of it again. And so certain things would happen, and then I would withdraw for a while, and then I would come back. And, the biggest thing that God and the spirit world need from us is consistency, because if we show up on a consistent basis, they know when to show up on a consistent basis to work with us and through us. And so it's kind of like my lack of consistency because I was always withdrawing, certain things would happen. So last week, Elijah was talking about letting go. Just let go. Like, why even hold on to that? Why does it take so long if somebody hurts your feelings to just spring up again and say, well, it's okay, they're being them and they're just, people do stupid things. Everybody has a bad point about them and it comes out. Well, so what? What's the big deal? Well, the big deal was that for me, because I experienced a lot of, I had self-image issues to begin with, or confidence issues, or abandonment issues as a child, that those things were always being triggered. And so I would kind of like fall back into my own pit, so to speak, when something like that would happen. So I was trying to talk with, I was talking with Elijah last week about when Jim was channeling him, that, it's not that easy for some people to let things go, even though it makes sense. It's true. Just let it go. And I've been hearing that for years. The metaphysical community talks about letting go. Well, the emotion code is a method to help let go. That's one reason I'm doing this today. And sometimes we just need to talk things out with somebody else to let it go. Sometimes, like one time I was telling my son, who had been studying Dr. DeMartini for many years. He's a personal development educator, very famous. And my son was very involved in his teachings and going to his workshops. And he developed a method, Dr. DeMartini, for letting go. And it just takes consistency and working with it, and it works. So I was talking to my son one day after a few years of him being involved with this. And I said, I really miss so-and-so. I feel so sad. I feel so this, I feel so that. And then he said, okay, listen, let's do this. He said, nature will never leave a vacuum. So when this person left your life and the things about them that you admired or that you missed or that were supportive, somebody else or a series of people or a few people came in to fill in that spot. So he said, who fulfills or who gives you the same things now that you miss so much from that other person? And it took me a while to think about it, but then I came up with like 2 or 3 people who were doing the same things, but in a different way. And once I realized that, I could let it go. So some people are able to let go instantly. I think it depends on the well, like the water well that goes really deep into the earth. I think it depends on how filled up that well is of a lot of old stuff from the past. Maybe I'm older, it's harder. I don't want to make that an excuse, but there's just ways to assist in letting go, and letting go is a great idea and really necessary, because as I have received the message while I'm channeling for others, they're saying, well, just imagine all this, what you're trying to let go on a big balloon, and you just kind of cut the cords and you just let it fly. I've given great advice on letting go through my channeling, and so that's why I'm going to talk about the emotion code today and practice some of it with you if you would like. So the emotion code is a way to remove trapped emotions, which we trapped in our bodies, in our ethereal bodies, heart wall. Like most, when you reach a certain age, many people develop a heart wall, which is made of different energetic materials. Some are softer, some are harder. But when you can remove that heart wall, that protective wall, which was built to protect, which is a good thing, but it also keeps a lot out, which is not a good thing. And when you have two people who have a large heart wall, they want to get close, but somehow there's something blocking. And so when this is removed, then so many things just kind of like become easier. Everything becomes easier. So Dr. Bradley, he went through a very long, interesting life, and he was led by God to, I don't want to say, yeah, I guess discovered for the earth. It's been around, but he was shown that the emotion code removes trapped emotions in people who had a traumatic experience. They were not able to get out of it. My psychiatrist explained to me that trauma is when you're in a situation that you can't get out of. And so you felt trapped at the moment. And so you trap that momentary emotion in your body. But it's also something called cellular memory, as many of you, I'm sure, are familiar with the term, is when all the cells in our body remember. Apparently the entire universe and all the knowledge in the universe is in our bodies, each one. We are all universes and galaxies, and so it's all there. But so are trapped emotions. So are all of our earthly experiences in our bodies, in our ethereal bodies, and in our physical bodies. So it started out that somebody would come to Dr. Bradley and they would have migraine or they would have some physical pain. And he would say, well, what is the degree of your pain from 0 to 10? And then he would, using kinesiology, using muscle testing, he would find out what the trapped emotion was. And then using a magnet, because this is where magnets come in, the main grid of our own meridian codes, latitude, longitude, we all, like I said, we're all a little universe, we're all a little planet unto ourselves. We have the latitudinal, longitudinal lines, and the main grid is running from the top of our head back down through our spine. So when I am doing it for somebody, I proxy when I'm doing it online with someone. So I will ask permission to be that person for the time I'm doing the emotion code. And then I will, 3 swipes are for personal experiences, and 10 swipes of the magnet remove ancestral trapped emotions. Now, in the metaphysical world, we talk a lot about past lives and things, emotions, traumas we brought along through our past lives. We often forget about our ancestors because we have at least 8 generations of ancestors who affect our lives as well today. And there's something called epigenetics, which studies the emotional passing down of emotions and trauma from one generation to another. So this is why letting go can sometimes be a tricky thing, because we're dealing with past lives, we're dealing with ancestors, we're dealing with our own experiences. And many times we don't feel loved and supported enough to let it out with somebody. It's like we have to sort of do it on our own, which is possible. And some people have an easier time than others. So I don't know if I explained the emotion code well enough, but I can give you some experiences. So I will show you this. This is the emotion code chart. It has a certain amount of emotions on it. It doesn't have all of them, but it has a lot. And there are category A and B, and then rows, and the rows, these are like row 1, for example, this is the heart or the small intestine. So when you're removing emotions in this row, then that's what you're also affecting in a positive way. If people have trouble in those areas, you can check either with if you're doing it on your own, you can check with kinesiology. You can find your own type of muscle testing or use a pendle to find out which one that is. You can remove it. And so that's what I do when I am doing it for people. I use a pendle, and I will ask somebody if they have some physical pain or some emotional pain, and I will look for on this particular chart what it is. I will ask whether it's personal or ancestral, and then I will, as a proxy, remove it for them, which is what I can do today. Now, I asked you to bring your magnet so that you can do it along with me, because I think you'll feel it strong doing
Why
it
don't we
with me.
give
Yay.
why don't we give everybody who doesn't have their magnet a chance to get a magnet, and what kind of magnet do they need?
Any magnet, even a refrigerator magnet, is good. And if they don't want to do the emotion code, they don't need one. But if they want to, then it would,
Okay.
you don't have to, but it'll be more effective, I think.
Okay, cool. So everyone who doesn't have a magnet, grab a magnet, run to your refrigerator, or maybe you have one in your drawer next to you, but give everyone a second. And just so you know, we're at 26 after the hour. So we will, if you want to do an hour of channeling, then this will need to go for about 35 minutes, if that's okay. Or you can go longer. It's up to you, whatever you feel led to do.
Okay, thanks, Karen. Yeah, let's play it by ear, because if
Okay. Do you want me to give you a reminder at like the top of the hour? Okay.
yes, and then if we're still going, like at a quarter after the hour, yeah.
Okay. All right. So what is
people
the
enjoy
process
that.
going to be? Are you going to call on people, or is it going to be everyone's doing the thing and we're in a meditation? How's it going to work?
Well, I think people could can notify you, like when
Right.
people ask questions for channeling, they could tell you if they want to do it or not. And until that happens,
Well, I would assume everyone
go ahead.
wants to do it, the ones that are watching, and then the people in the YouTube, they can also hopefully follow along, and we'll just go with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what I'd like to do is take a volunteer to let me find a specific trapped emotion for them.
Okay. Anyone want to volunteer? Hold up your hand. Anyone who's in the, or
Yes.
type in the chat. Yes. Maggie, do you want to do it? Yeah, Maggie wants to do it. So, okay, Maggie, you're
Okay,
first.
great.
Okay.
So, we can give that example, and then anybody else who wants to do it. Maggie is very good at feeling what's going on. So you can give some feedback, Maggie, if you want to, about it. And thank you. And then we'll just see how that goes. And then I can look for what I've also done. Emotion code is removed trapped emotions to abundance. What's blocking our abundance, or the flowing in of abundance. So yes. So I also do the emotion code privately, and you can find my profile on ukolo.org. It's under sessions. You'll see the healing aspect of it. Okay, I like that one. Okay. Do you want to do one, Christine, as well? One-on-one?
Do one what? I have my little hematite, magnetized
Great.
hematite.
Yeah. Yes, I can I can remove a trapped emotion from you if you like.
Sure.
Great. So first I'm going to do it with Maggie, and then I'll do it with you. It won't take long. It's not going to be a long, drawn-out process that gets boring for everybody. It'll be interesting. And what I want to say is that you can also, on YouTube, you can find emotion code chart. You can find it on Google Images. If you want to print one out for yourself, it's called the emotion code chart. And you can get yourself a magnet, a pendle. You can also look up on YouTube, how to do the emotion code for yourself if you're feeling like depressed. And I know the hardest time to work on yourself is when you're depressed. It's like all the tools we've ever known just fly out the window in that moment. But if we could force ourselves in those moments to do just something as simple as this, it'll be like a first layer off, It'll be like one of those first bricks we can get off of ourselves when we're feeling that heavy. But I also do it for people, or you can learn to do it yourself. Yes. Okay, so should we start, Karen, with Maggie?
Yes, go. I leave you to it.
Thank you very much. Okay, Maggie, would you like me to remove something concerning abundance? Or you have a specific issue you would like to work on?
I can't think of anything very specific right now. Maybe any issue involving the throat chakra. I've been working on my throat chakra a lot. Maybe expression or something like that.
Okay. Is it feeling constricted?
Sometimes I get these like weird cramps in my throat, and I think it has to do with the blockage I have there. They're debilitating. It's like the worst pain that I have experienced lately, and I think it has something to do with some stuck energy that I have there.
Oh, wow. So on a scale from 1 to 10, the 1 being the least and 10 being the most, when you get that pain, are you having it right now? No, you're not having it right now.
I wouldn't be able to talk if I was having it, thank goodness.
Okay, all right. So when you get it, what scale of pain is it? Like
a 10.
From 1 to 10. Really? Wow. Intense. Okay. So I'm going to ask if I can, I'm using my pendle. So I'm asking, am I allowed to proxy for Maggie in this issue? And the answer is yes. Okay. So I'm going to look for a trapped emotion connected to the throat chakra and this pain of constriction. And it's a yes. Okay. Is it in column A? Is it in column B? It's in column B. Is it row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5? It's in row 5. In column B, which is the 5 emotions in there are conflict, creative insecurity, terror, unsupported, and wishy-washy. So I'm going to check those 5 to see which one it is. So is it conflict? Is it creative insecurity? No. Is it terror? No. Is it unsupported? Yes. Is it wishy-washy? So it's a feeling of being unsupported. Now, that could be, doesn't mean that people are not supporting you, but maybe they're just, you don't know how to ask for how you need to be supported. They're supporting you in their way. They think they're doing a fantastic job doing that. But you're like, well, it's not really what I need, but you don't know how to say it because you feel like, well, they're already giving so much and I'll feel ungrateful if I say, well, can you do it in that way? You know, it's like when somebody has given me a massage and it hurts because it's so hard. And I want to say, stop, it's so hard, but they're being so nice and they want to do it. They want to do their best. So sometimes I just put up with it, and that's what it is when we're not able to be fully honest with what we need in a relationship, especially. But now this doesn't have to refer only to relationship as in an intimate one, but it could just be in general that we just don't know how to ask for exactly the way we need support. And also we're shamed into it if we do. It's like, well, you know how to do that. You're a grown person. You don't need to ask. And so there's a lot of stuff that's in between and with that feeling of being unsupported. So now let me just ask, is it ancestral? It's also ancestral. Is it the mother's side? Yes. Father's side? No. Is it 1 generation, 2 generation, 3 generation, 4 generations of feeling the inability to ask for what has been really needed and to express? But you can imagine that, right, with your ancestry.
Yeah, definitely. And as you're saying all of this, my throat is really tightening up, so I know it's very accurate. It's responding to what you're thing.
Well, let's get rid of this before it gets worse. Okay. Okay, is this lodged in the throat area of Maggie? Yes, okay. So may I please remove it? Okay, so I'm going to remove these four generations, right? It said 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4 generations on your mother's side. So take the magnet. Oh, you may want to put your hair down for this. You're going to have to get it from the top of the head. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem.
Okay, so let's do it together. We're going to do 10 times to remove ancestral, and believe that your ancestors are with you and are rejoicing at the chance to remove this.
Yay.
Okay. Okay. 1, together. 1, 2. Go ahead. You just do it. You do it, and I'll
Okay.
follow you. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. Could you feel that?
It's
like,
a large energy.
ooh, okay, has this now been removed? Okay, so it's been removed. How is your throat feeling?
It's not tight anymore. It's interesting. I didn't feel it really releasing specifically from the throat. It was like a whole body sensation.
Yes, yes, yes.
Very,
It goes
much
whole
more the
body.
chest included, you know?
Yes. Okay. So we can do more later if you get stuck on this. If this, I didn't want to bring something. Some things take a long time. There's more than one emotion, trapped emotion, but that's an example of removing a trapped emotion, which was ancestral as well from you. And this will definitely free you up in that sense. The next step will be learning how to be proactive to expressing what you need.
Right.
When you're not feeling as supported as you would like in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
That's the next step. Yeah. So then after we remove trapped emotion, I usually pray. I ask we are grateful that trapped emotion was removed. We ask that it be taken deep into the earth to be transported into light, transformed into light. And we ask that area which it was removed from is filled with a very, very thick, impenetrable light that no other negative emotions can enter. I thank you and I pray in the great name of the greatest love on the greatest heart and the greatest being there is. Amen. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, we've closed that area up. All right, so kind of an example of the emotion code, and that was an ancestral removal. But of course, as I said, it's like when people go for cancer treatment and they go for emotional counseling to find out why they had cancer, what was the emotion behind it, and how can they remove that. But then, or they're told you've got to eat a certain way now. Now you have to do this, you have to change the way you're eating or something. And if they don't, if the cancer is total remission, of course, there is a chance that it'll come back because the same preconditions would be there. That's why I say once a trapped emotion is removed, in your case, about needing to express what you need, then the next step would be, okay, now how do I learn to do that so that this doesn't come back? So anyway, that was great. Thank you, Maggie, for allowing us to share that sharing yourself with us in that way. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for doing that for me and helping me facilitate it. It's still
You're
happening.
welcome.
I feel a lot of energy leaving, so it's very powerful.
Wonderful. Okay, wonderful.
Perfect.
Hey,
thank you.
next,
Cool.
correct?
Is there, Christine,
welcome.
do you want to do this?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
You up for it,
Is there
Sephira?
a specific, what, hun?
I said, you ready? Are you out?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
But what I forgot to do was I need to, just a moment,
Clean yourself.
separate from Maggie. Yes. So we're not getting any of Maggie's stuff with you. Okay. So what area can I work on for you, Christine?
Money. My hospital bills will soon be coming in.
Oh, okay.
And I just totaled my car. So,
I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh boy.
well, I survived that
Christine.
part. I survived the cancer treatments. And now,
Wow. Wow.
you know, the new year is going
Okay.
to bring a lot.
Absolutely. So would you like me to find a trapped emotion blocking financial abundance?
Yes.
Okay. So first, am I allowed to proxy for Christine? So the answer is yes. Okay. So we're looking for a trapped emotion connected to what is blocking financial abundance. And is it in column A? It's in column A. Is it row 1 or 2? It's in row 2. Okay, so the 5 emotions in row 2, column A, are anxiety, despair, disgust, nervousness, and worry. So we're going to check now if any of those, or maybe all of them, are involved. Let's see. Okay, so is it anxiety? Okay, is it despair? No. Is it disgust? Yes. Is it nervousness? No. Is it worry? No. So we're coming up with anxiety and disgust. Is anxiety, is it a current and personal trapped emotion? Is it also ancestral? Well, right now it's personal, okay. Did it get trapped from prenatal, 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40? So 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. So around 35 years of age, there was something where you first began to you felt trapped in a situation, no matter what it was. And that's when that first got trapped, that particular one. And the reason we try to find exactly what it is because it's easier for it to go, we've got to name it. We've got to find it and name it. It's like an inner child. You find it, you name it, you love it, and it goes. It's sort of like walking an incarnate spirit, walking a discarnate spirit into the light. That's
Okay.
So it's now, so I know if somebody asked me what I could remember 35 years of age, I would take me a while. But you sort of relate to that age and feeling some extreme anxiety that you felt trapped about?
Nope.
Okay, that's fine. So but it's also current as well. You know, like it started there, but it's also current. Okay. Now, disgust. Is disgust ancestral? No. Is it personal? Okay. Is it current? Okay. Did it start a long time ago? No. Disgust. Can you relate to disgust? The feeling of disgust?
Yeah, because I can't, you know how people go out and they buy things that they don't need, or when they have a lot of anxiety, they go out and they spend money.
Yes.
I think I've been trying to curb that. And I get disgusted because as soon as I go out to buy milk, come back with a lot of other things. So I've been trying.
I can relate to that.
And I get anxious about it because, you know, I'm not being a grown-up and managing myself well.
I see. Okay. That has to do partly with there's different voices we hear in our head. And there's a book called I'm Okay, You're Okay.
Yep, I read it.
Sorry?
I read it a long time ago.
Yes. I had to study it for college for one of my courses. And it's about the voices that we're hearing. And one of them is the adult, like our own adults as we were children, telling us what we should and shouldn't do. And so we're still adults, but now we're still like, you know, don't do that. Don't spend money. I don't have enough money. We don't have enough money. You know, you want a gift, you want a toy. It's like, we can't afford that. I mean, I'm not saying everybody goes through that. Some people have it the opposite. They get everything
That's
they want.
exactly what our family went through. So yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it was like that.
Yeah.
Right. So that's so you're hearing that little you're hearing the adult voice as you walk around, feeling like for some reason, you can't afford this, and so why are you even doing it? And then
Yeah.
you get so down on yourself. And it's like you're forgetting in that moment that little child which feels joy when it sees a toy, when it sees something that it would like to have, and of course there's a certain practicality. You have to always measure joy versus being practical. Now, the other part of abundance is that when you give out without judgment, when you just let it flow out, it just naturally flows back in. Like I was saying before, there's no vacuum. So actually, on one side, the more we give out, that's how the economy works. The more consumers buy, the higher the economy goes up. It gets stronger. You would think, because why? Because we're the people are giving out while they're shopping, and then it's coming back and it's a flow. So yeah, so it has to do with your self judgment, feeling disgusted with yourself about that habit. So good. So see, both of those things came up. Isn't that interesting? And that's probably blocking your allowance to have so much money to do whatever you want to do with. So, okay, let me ask if I can remove these two things from you. Okay, so may I remove anxiety? May I remove disgust? Okay, so you take your magnet and we're going to do 3 swipes from the top of your head back to as far as you can go back with your hand. Okay, ready? This is for anxiety. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we're going to take a moment and say, now we're going to do disgust. 1, 2, and 3. Very good. Okay. It doesn't matter. It's not always sync, but it doesn't matter as long as it gets done. Okay. So now, has anxiety been removed? Yes. Has disgust been removed? Yes. So these 2 things have been removed. You're free. Okay. Now we ask that this area, the areas in which it was trapped in, can please be filled with a very thick, impenetrable white light that no other negative energy can get through. And so it is, and amen. Okay. Now, there are, every issue can be, and it usually is multi-layered. So yes, I can work with you more on this privately if you wanted to, but we just, as an example, you did get free of those 2 on one level. It may not be like all the onion, all the deepest part of the onion, but a very good part of it. Let's put it like that. So enjoy that freedom and be a child when you go out. And don't take more money with you than what you want to spend. That's another thing. Leave everything home but a $5 bill. It's like, okay, that's it. That's all I've got. If you really want to keep that budget, But I do that all the time. Oh gosh, especially I'll walk into Goodwill, like a thrift shop, say, I just need I need a book. I need a notebook. And then I walk out $30 later. No, I forgot I needed that. Oh my God, that's so pretty. And I think we can all relate to that, right? And feeling like we don't have the money, but what the heck, And sometimes beauty is better than money.
Hey, we're being patriotic. We're stimulating the economy.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, very good.
Okay.
All right. So
nice.
Is there anybody else, Karen, who would like to do this?
Yeah, I think so, but I need them to say, I think someone was driving that wanted to do it, but I don't know if they can.
Okay. Hello, Jonathan. Nice.
Jonathan, did you want to work with Sephira now? You can say, put your thumb up like yes or no, or like
you don't have to.
You don't have to
put on the spot.
On the spot. Okay. All right. Okay. Someone's asking a channeling question. Shuit, you're asking a channeling question, but we'll come back to you in a little bit with that question.
I have a question while you're looking for somebody. You know these magnets? I have hematite that's magnetized.
Yes.
If I did, because magnets are supposed to be good, right?
Yes.
For us to have in our body. If I made a bracelet using the hematite and then adding a few other stones to it, Is that good every once in a while? Like every time I go into the store and before I go into the store, I take my hematite bracelet and go like this.
Yes, I'm free of judgment, free of judgment, free of judgment. Thank God I am free at last, as Martin Luther King said. A lot of it has to do, Martin Luther King Jr., has a lot to do with self-judgment. Self-judgment. I don't deserve it. You know, I was always told I'll be selfish if I do that. But, also I want to mention something that many religions do, and it's tithing. I don't know, those of you who grew up in religions know about tithing. Those of you who don't, it was the habit of giving 10% either of your harvest before money was in play to the greater good, to the community or whatever, or giving 10% of whatever income. And this was a way to ensure outflow and inflow. And many people have had miraculous experiences when they do this on a regular basis, their income.
That's true.
And
It's still important whether you do it for church or to charity
exactly.
or,
I
yeah.
already do that. My
Yeah.
poor little Social Security is inundated with little $10 tithings.
Yeah, but so you will always be taken care of, Christine, even if you feel
Even if I
you get
feel I'm
anxious
not.
about, right, right. And somebody may bring you a pot of soup, and that's almost the same as somebody giving you $100. The thoughtfulness, right? The kindness of them bringing it over. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
just my
So
self-sabotage that is annoying.
yes, yes. And you can also do the emotion code, removing the cause of self-sabotage as well. So there's many ways. I had somebody coming to visit, another friend of mine, and I was kind of dreading seeing them again, as there was a bit of a history. I did the emotion code, or whatever is between me and that person. And when I saw them, I was so free. It was awesome. So the emotion code can be used for so many things. Finances, sicknesses, ancestry removal, even past lives. There was somebody this morning, I asked, is there something between us I can remove? And sometimes there will be no emotion on the chart. It just was like, no. And I'm like, okay, so it's something else, right? And then I just asked, is it karmic? Is there something karmic going on between me and this person? And it was a yes, and I cleared it, and it's all good. So not every single emotion is in this chart, of course, but it's sort of like a basic groundwork for it. Yeah, so this will help. Okay, if there's nobody else, I will look for a group, a common a trapped emotion on a group level that I could remove
Okay,
before
great.
I finish. Is
Yeah.
that okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And thank you, Christine and Maggie, because you made yourself vulnerable, and it's not easy. So I understand that people just don't want to always jump in, especially a lot of us don't really know each other very well. So, but that's one way to get to know each other. There's a saying, my greatest strength is when others know my weaknesses. And yes, it's hard to become a community if there isn't a certain amount of vulnerability, but I know how hard that is. So I understand. All right. So now I'm going to just cut from Christine. Okay. So is there, for the group that's here today and those watching on Facebook, is there a group trapped emotion that I can remove? And the answer is coming yes. So let's see what that is. Is it in column A? Is it in column B? It's in column B. Is it row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4? Okay, it's in row 6. In row 6, we've got pride, shame, shock, unworthy, and worthlessness. So let me see if any of those, which one of them, I mean. So pride. So there's pride. Okay, I'm coming up with pride and shock. Okay. Well, there's so much to go into about these two particular things. Could be pride keeping us from surrendering to situations we wish we could, surrender to trust, um, pride keeping us from learning what we kind of want to learn, but somehow we feel maybe, I think for me, shame and pride kind of go together. Um, yes. Okay. So pride is a group thing, which probably most people could relate to on one level or another. And let's see, and shock, well, let's see. Do you understand the concept of shock? Like something's happened and you're like, that's not even possible, or it was so hurtful that you just can't believe. Here's the thing: most people grow up. Most people, I'm not everybody, grow up with the belief that life is going to be good, and people are going to be good, and people are going to treat me well, and so when something happens or something happens in our childhood where maybe a parent dies suddenly, or a sibling dies suddenly, or a cousin commits suicide. There's just so many experiences where we were not expecting them to happen, and they are a shock. And I think that's probably why it's a group thing, because probably everybody has a form of shock. Now, I cannot, as a group, remove individually, when and where and what age, but we're going to remove this as a group, and maybe some of you will experience that in some way. And let's hope. So I'm going to remove pride. So I'm going to, for the sake of the whole group, I'm going to represent all and remove pride. Removing pride. Then I am also going to remove shock. We're going to remove shock. Okay. Now let me ask if pride and shock have been removed. Has pride been removed? Yes. Has shock been removed? Okay. So the level of the onion, there are some layers that we have now freed up as on a group level with pride and shock. So notice maybe synchronistically, you may read something, see something, hear something, feel something, where you can feel, oh, that's great. I'm a little freer than I was, a little more open than I was, a little less shocked than I was, or angry than I was because somebody hurt me and that shocked me, things like that, a little easier to forgive. So I ask that all of these trapped emotions within for the group here and public who are watching, all the areas in which they were removed, pride and shock, can be filled with an impenetrable white light that cannot be penetrated by any other negative energy and filled with any other energy that is not serving that person. And we ask that all of those trapped emotions be sent to the center of the earth to be neutralized, to be turned into light, and to be used for good. So it is, and amen. Okay, so thank you. And that is the emotion code. Or, I mean, it's the tip of the iceberg of the emotion code, let's put it that way. Just an introduction. So thank you.
I put your contact information in the YouTube chat, and everyone in Human Colony knows they can get you through the groups. But there is a question from Liney. She says, what can you do for being overwhelmed? What
Oh,
about?
well, we do have overwhelmed within this chart here. There is an overwhelm. So we still, it's not even 12 o'clock yet. So
No.
I can try to do that for you, Liney, from this, if she can write back to you quickly. Well,
Yeah, she's in YouTube. Dawn, can you watch for her to write back?
well, I know Liney,
Okay.
and I know that
I'm watching.
I know she wouldn't mind me doing that for her.
Okay, well,
So-
Dawn's watching. Just realize there's going to be a delay from if she has to respond. Just there'll be a little delay between what you ask
Okay.
and when Dawn can get it to you. But please go ahead.
Of course. Thank you, Karen. Of course. But first, I'm going to cut from the other one I just did, the group 1. Okay. So now, even though Liney is hearing me but not able to get online, may I please remove a, okay. So is overwhelmed the exact trapped emotion we want to remove? Is there another emotion connected to it? Yes, there is. Okay, so is this is a reason why we're overwhelmed? This might be another type of emotion network. So there's column A. Is it in column A? In column A, is it row 1? Is it row 2? Is it row 3? Okay, it's in row 3. So there's crying, discouragement, rejection, sadness, sorrow. Okay. So we've got these 5 ones. Let me see which one it is. Is it crying? Is it discouragement? Is it rejection? Is it sadness? Sorry. Is it sorrow? Okay. Is it personal? Is it ancestral? Is it mother's side? Father's side? 1, 2, 3, 4 generations crying. Okay. Okay. And you would need to write that down because there's going to be more than one. Hey, Karen,
Yeah.
can you please, you have something to write with there?
Yep. Wait, 1 second. I almost do. Okay. Okay. Yes, I do.
Can you write down crying 4 generations father's side, please? Just
Crying
4G
for generations father's side.
Yeah, 4G father. That's all I need for crying. Just write discouragement. Is it personal? Is it ancestral? No. Okay, so discouragement. Rejection. Is it ancestral? Is it personal? Sadness. Is sadness ancestral? Is it father's side? Mother's side? 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. Sadness. 5 generations mother.
Okay.
And sorrow. Is this ancestral? Is this father's side? Is this mother's side? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? And sorrow is 6 generations mother.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So, Liney, those are partly, I know it doesn't make sense at the moment, but that is some of the trapped emotions, which make it hard to just move freely and function. Like it's the wheels are not oiled well enough, and so it's easy to feel overwhelmed. Okay, I can also remove the feeling of overwhelm. Is it personal? Okay. All right, good. So we're going to do this. So we're going to start with crying, which is 4 generations father, right, Karen?
Yeah. 4 generations father's crying. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do 10 times for the ancestral. 1, father's side. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, discouragement is 3. 1, 2, 3. Rejection is 3 times personal. 1, 2, 3. Sadness is
Oh, she froze.
how many generations,
Sadness
mother?
was
I
5
think 6, right?
generations mother. 5 generations mother.
Oh, thank you. 5. Okay, thank you. So sadness 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And sorrow is
6
mother.
generations mother.
Okay, thank you. 1, 2, mother's side, sorrow, 3, 6 generations, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then we're going to remove overwhelm. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Have these been removed? All of these in this row been removed for the ancestors and personal? Has overwhelmed been removed? Yes. Okay. We ask that all these areas where the trapped emotions have been removed can be filled with a very thick, impenetrable white light that cannot be penetrated by anything other than the purest of light and the purest of goodness and intention. And we ask that all the trapped emotions that have been removed for the sake of the ancestors and for the sake of personal release can be sent to the middle of the earth and revived and revitalized and turned into the light and used good for the sake of others. Amen and thank you. Okay, so
Okay.
Liney, you can hear me? Yes.
No, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I know that I was going to say to Liney, yeah, probably more than you bargained for, but we can talk about it, privately if you like to about all those things. But I want to say about the ancestors is that Dr. Nelson teaches the emotion code. You can get certified. I am certified practitioner through Dr. Nelson, and he does all these public teaching. He does all these webinars and workshops. There are people in the audience who can see the ancestors coming when it is time for an ancestral trapped emotion to be removed. And they jump for joy when it's gone. So a lot of people can see all of this happening. So there's some mechanics behind it, working with energy, meridian grid, and everybody knows that behind certain pains, there is most always an emotion that's there. There's cellular memory to remove it from, to be removed as well. There's certain types of special massages for that as well, like Rolfing, Rolfing. This is a deep massage, which removes also trapped cellular memories along with the emotion code. So this is, just want to say it's a very great thing. And there's like I say, it's there's mechanics behind it, but there's also a lot of faith. And when you experience it, you're like, wow, this is amazing. So again, thank you very much for allowing
Thank
me.
you. Thank you for that.
You're
That's really
welcome.
interesting. There's a saying they say in Hinduism, and it's the same, is that their ancestors rejoice when a person becomes enlightened, when they start to walk their path, because that's the chance for the whole line to be healed. So, and
Yes.
every indigenous culture, believes, and also some of the more ancient cultures like the Asians and things really do focus on honoring their ancestors and remembering.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yes.
good.
Thank you for
Very
adding
good.
that. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Okay, I need a moment to drink something.
I was going to say, do you need a little break?
Just a few minutes. I just need to drink.
Okay.
And I'll
Everyone
be right
talk
back.
amongst yourselves. Oh, you muted yourself.
I know. I'll be right back.
Okay, great. All right. So everyone, so while Sephira is like getting ready, we're going to start channeling. So if you have questions for Sephira channeling, just get them ready. You can post them in the YouTube chat. Everybody in the YouTube room can, get ready as well. Is she frozen? I guess she's frozen.
It shows that she just went off cam to me.
Okay, I saw her frozen in that same position. I'm like, what happened? So, yeah. So next week, everyone, just so while I have your undivided attention, there will not be a webinar because the magic class that Jim Charles is teaching will be they need the Zoom, and that'll be starting right at the time this webinar normally ends, but they need to get in the room sooner. So next week there will be no webinar. And as a recommendation, if you need something to do with your Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon, please go and watch. They call us channelers on Kevin Moore's channel, and there's a beautiful long interview with Jim. So that's what you can do next week. Or you can join the magic class. And if you're still interested in that, you can send a message to Angela Speed. And I don't know if everyone has her information. So let me look it up real quick. Give me 1 second. And also you can find it on, if you're in the Hucolo group on Facebook, you can find the information about the magic class there, or at this email address I'm about to give you. 1 moment. Let's see. It is, okay.
aspeed469.
aspeed469@gmail.com. Thank you, Ian.
I just happen to remember that.
I should be able to remember it, but I can't. But so that's next week, Saturday on the 7th. It's 2 days, the 7th and the 8th of December. Are you going to be in the class, Ian, or not?
No.
Okay. Well, other people will be. I think they already have like 10 or 12. They can have a few more. So if you're interested in that, please check it out. And if you're watching and you have not subscribed to our channel, our subscriptions are going up. So I believe you guys have, but if you have not subscribed, please hit like and subscribe. For the webinars that are with Jim Charles, those are paid webinars, and that's for the Hucolo Club members. So if you would like to support Human Colony for $10 a month, you can go to hucolo.org/webinars and support. And then you will always be invited into the Zoom room on the weeks that Jim is channeling. So, and also coming up for December, no webinar, 7 December, which we already know. Jim will be back for the 14th and the 21st. And then the last week of December, the 28th, to close out the year, we'll have Tyler Ellison back. So that's our schedule for December. And I will be in America from doing the webinar, and it won't be late at night for me. I will be on your same time zone. So it'll be interesting to see how I do if I'm awake, if I can wake up for the webinar. Okay, Sephira's back. Hi, Sephira.
Hello. All right. I'm just going to breathe it in.
Okay. All right, sure.
Breathe it in. Hello, this is Quaea'a.
Hello. Hello, Quaea'a. It's welcome and thank you for being here.
Many greetings. My name is pronounced, and I know it is difficult. I have told others to say Q, but it is Quaea'a. And there is a additional A at the end to denote royalty, because I am royalty from Maya. I am the king of the third kingdom on the planet Maya. And I come to you today, not necessarily as a king, but to offer just some time together and some sharing and some wisdom, if I have any to offer to you, but that you can have a point of relativity to who I am and some of what I do, because I am quite busy working with many councils, the Galactic Council and the Yandai Council from our planets, and our own governments, because in our lands we have also smaller forms of governments, and there are so many aspects of trade and all the different departments which are similar to what you have on Earth. Of course, not exactly. There are some things we do not have to deal with, especially in terms of your monetary system. We have a different monetary system, and it is mostly with time or trade. It is not with an exchange of money. And we feel sorry and compassionate to see so many of you who feel as though you are poor and inadequate because you do not have this stuff, as you call it, which is green or which is made of different alloys, to measure your worth against. And having something to trade, having talents and abilities to trade is a good thing because it inspires you to become your best self and to pursue your best interests and your best natural capabilities in life. So, yes, I am not saying that it would not be good to have competition or trading in some way, but to be so trapped to sort of tie into what Sephira was talking about before with feeling trapped. There is nothing like feeling trapped by the fact that you do not have enough of this paper and coins in order to move forward, to have a more comfortable living situation, to be more mobile, to visit all of the countries in your world where there are so many incredible experiences to be had with those living with different cultures and belief systems and food. And it is just such a joy to experience all the different cultures in your world. And to feel constricted because of money, this is a sad thing. So there are networks. There are networks of groups within your world who do try to rebuild this trading system and this exchange system. Still, there is your physical money involved, but less of it. So I would encourage you to look into these trading or exchange systems or build some yourselves among yourselves so that you can begin to, if you feel that you are unable to at this time, I'm not suggesting all of you feel that way, but for those who do, look into that and spread your wings a little bit more if you would desire to do that. That's what I would suggest. In any case, I do digress. I was talking about the fact of having many responsibilities and aspects and departments to oversee and to work with. I love what I do. It is a joyful occupation for me, although it did not come without some struggle of self-questioning and some self-doubt, because I came into it through the passing of my father. And it is so easy to think, I can do that. And when you're not doing it, you think it looks so easy to do. You even criticize those doing it in a leadership position, thinking, oh, I could do that better. And then you are put into it and you realize, oh my goodness, as you are familiar with that expression, I could use some other words, but I will not. You are momentarily really set back and struck, but there is no time. You must step in. You must step into that leadership role. There are things going on. There are crises at times, and there is no time to now want to find a way to escape it. So, yes. So I came in this way, and I'm feeling more and more confident as time goes on. And one thing, the reason I am coming to you as well is because, there are several Pleiadian groups who are responsible for helping you with your ascension process. And we do this in many different ways. And we do have an outreach council here of many different species who meet and discuss what is happening and ways to facilitate this better. So that is my very brief introduction. And how are all of you?
I believe everyone's fine. We have some questions here if you would be able to answer them or would agree to answer them.
I cannot hear you very well, whoever is speaking.
This is Karen. So can you hear me now?
Ah, yes, better. Thank you.
Okay, we have some questions if you would like to to answer some questions, if that's okay.
I will do my best.
Okay, can everyone else hear me or not? If you, yeah, okay. All right, thank you.
Loud and clear.
Very well.
Thank you, Don. Okay, thanks, John. Okay, I saw, yeah. All right. Okay, so the questions, the first question is from Shiwat Asefa, and I don't know if this is something you can answer, but he asks, may I get info on my galactic family, please? And can you explain to him any blocks that he has with his connection to them?
I do not do that kind of work. Please
Okay.
refer to someone else.
Okay, would you be able to talk about what would be blocking him from connecting?
Sorry, I'm not sure how to help with
I am not able to tap into that particular being. who's asking
Okay,
the
that's no
question,
problem.
but generally speaking, yes, there are subconscious fears. Many humans say, I cannot wait to meet the aliens. I cannot wait to meet them face to face. I cannot wait for first contact. But in the face of actually meeting an alien, there can be a great shock. One can try, as I was speaking of, stepping into large feat of a leadership role. There can be this understanding that I am ready, I want to, I am ready, but the actual readiness is not quite there. This can be one block. What you can do about this is you can ask for your spiritual guides. You can ask for the angels around you to help you clear away any subconscious fears you may have concerning this connection. And you can do more research on different galactic characteristics. For example, your Pleiadians will be more along the artistic line, the Syrians perhaps more along the very analytical, do not like to use the word business, but that type of personality line. And so there are different characteristics where you would be able to identify yourself. And then that would be a beginning, like, aha, perhaps I belong to this group or that group. And then what you can do, you can ask to first meet your family in dream state. Even that may remain subconscious when you awake, but you can ask, you can anticipate, you can hope to meet them in dream state. And then that would be one way to assuage the fear that maybe that you might be harboring. This is one reason I can tell you could be blocking your connection with them. They have no problem wanting to connect to you. But as you know, it is a frequency to frequency thing. So it is like turning your radio to meet a specific station that you want to reach. And there are certain stations. Have you ever wished to watch or hear, excuse me, a particular program on the radio, and you are just moving your switch back and forth and back and forth, and you just cannot, there's too much interference, you cannot connect to it, and it is very frustrating. And so your galactic family, they are trying to move their switch to meet yours, but there is too much interference. If you are feeling yourself overwhelmed, if you are feeling very emotionally disturbed, if you have a great deal of anger, if you have just so much going on in your life and stress that this is also a blockage to making that radio signal to radio signal connection. So there can be so many reasons why it is going to be difficult to make that connection, but you can do it. It begins with desire, and since you're asking, there is a desire. Then it begins with a little bit of research to find out, which characteristics belong to me and I can relate to. Then you ask for dream state experience. Then you ask for help removing any fears from your subconscious self. Then you begin to move away all the noise around your mind, your emotions, your psyche. And with all of these steps, you will find your galactic family. I am done.
All right. Thank you very much for that. There's a question
You're
from
welcome.
Crossover 93, and he was actually asking about magnets and things like that. But do you do any kind of healing or not? Do you send healing energy?
I can. I can. Yes. The Pleiadians have a lot of healing chambers, as you may have heard about. And we use our own energies, love, healing modalities, and each, well, I don't want to say race, but there are different cultures which have different styles of healing. But we have our chambers, and we draw in the universal lights and light energy through crystals, and we pinpoint the crystal to a particular area in your being that needs healing. You can, anytime you wish, request to be visiting a Pleiadian healing chamber. There are the Arcturians also have healing chambers. They have them in ships around your world. There are also many ships around your world that have healing chambers from the Pleiadians, from the Arcturians, and from other civilizations. You can request to enter, and you may need to get online, like your colonies, your colonies that your Fiknir talks about. They have to now schedule when people can arrive because it is very busy and very much in demand. And they are classes. It is not an endless amount of space. It is a, with some of the chambers, there is a line, but you can request it if it is an emergency. And I know this from my channeling through Sephira at other times, and the channelings I have listened to here, that you can also request healing directly through your own system. Is that correct? For example, when you write to Grukviknir and you ask for healing, they will respond. They will receive it. They will respond. I hope that is answered.
Well, that wasn't actually the question. My question was, do you do healing? Because there's someone's requesting healing. So I don't know if that's something that you.
Do you mean, can I do healing immediately and right now?
Yes.
Is that the?
Yes, that's the question. Because there's someone here requesting healing. So if not, I can they can wait till next week. That's my question. Or wait.
What they can do is make an appointment with Sephira, and we can do this one-on-one. It is difficult to connect right now in this way. I am not.
Okay, that's fine. So there's some other questions. So let me move along here. This is from Jorma. It says, when the masses of the earth are ready for the full alien disclosure, are ETs going to come down? He said, my spirit told me that after many decades they would. What do you think?
Yes, This is a process that is still in discussion among the different races who would even be willing to come down. First contact is to be a process in steps. There will be first, as it is now standing, there will be a radio, television communication first on that level. Then when that has been received and there is a willingness without danger to our ships and to ourselves, we will come down in steps. There will first be one group that comes down, and or maybe we remain on our ships and we have people come, government officials first, and then there needs to be diplomatic meetings between ourselves and the governments of where our ships are. We cannot just land and open up our doors and everybody comes in. This is going to be a very organized, diplomatic, step-by-step process because we, our guests in your home, and there are going to be rules about how we should arrive as guests, what our behavior should be, how many people can first have direct contact with us, how may we present ourselves publicly, and we are going to need those who can speak our language and vice versa. So it is not going to be a mass landing, no. As far as things are right now, there may be other races who will attempt a mass appearance. I don't know how they will be greeted. It will, at first, if this is not well prepared, will be seen initially as an act of aggression, if this has not been approved beforehand. And you know what your world does when they feel there is an act of aggression from the skies, from all of your movies, but this is also rather realistic. Yes, continue.
Okay, thank you very much for that. There's a question from Mark. He wants to know, what could you say to his cigarette smoking addiction?
I find it is not humorous, forgive me. Having an addiction is not humorous, but this was brought up last week in relation to someone else. And so, well, it is similar to any addiction. Any addiction leads to damage eventually, whether it is gambling, as you know, depends on the level. First, you will have the overuse or eventual abuse of a certain substance or behavior, and then it doesn't go into an addiction immediately. Now, I happen to know that with nicotine, the addiction can be almost immediate, where the other substances, like the harder drugs and gambling and shopping and sexual addiction, they are addictions which grow over time and then become almost impossible to get out of, although all addictions are able to be relieved. So I do not know what to tell you about your cigarette addiction. What do you want to know about it? Do you want to quit or do you not want to quit? To tell you
Well,
it's hurting you or it is not hurting you. What would you like?
well, the person's in the chat, but I can imagine the reason they asked about it is because they're trying to figure a way to get over it. Or maybe what does it mean on a soul level more than anything else?
Well, all your substances and exaggerated behaviors are behaviors of avoidance of something else. Cigarettes have a way of suppressing emotions. It is the habit of those who are feeling very stressed to grab a cigarette. And they say, oh, now I need a cigarette. I feel more calm. And indeed, it will initially bring a calmness, what it does is suppress emotions. So when you are ready to deal with certain emotions, when you know that you absolutely need to release certain emotions, then you might be willing to release the cigarette as well. And when you do that, there are means on your planet to do that. It is one of the, it is the quickest to get attached to and addicted to, but also one of the easiest to release. Thankfully, when people have made a decision on your planet to do it. The other addictions can also be released, but it is a much longer process of detoxification and a recovery. And it is also the same with cigarettes. There is a detoxification process and a recovery. They are not as severe, but nonetheless can have long term consequences or complications, but not always. That is what I can say about cigarette addiction. And it is sometimes, if your grandparents have smoked or their grandparents have smoked, the psychological and the social enjoyment that they have experienced is also something they wish to continue to experience through you. And so sometimes the smoking is a little bit influenced by those who have smoked before you. Still possible to release. Thank you. I am done.
Thank you. Okay, there's a question from Jorma. It says, how many Pleiadian races are there? Um, among them, the Taigetans.
Well, we have in the Pleiadian system 7 planets, and we are all a little bit different in looks and atmosphere and culture. There are more Pleiadian races than I am able to count. There are so many mixed Pleiadian races. There is a Pleiadian Lyran, there is Pleiadian reptilian. There have been so many mixtures that it is hard to say. But we can start with 7. You've got your planet where Lakesh is from, and they are shorter and rounder, but they are still blue. And this has to do with the environment, the sunlight, the atmosphere. Then I am blue. We are very tall, 7 feet usually as the smallest, but well, sometimes a bit smaller, but going 7 feet to 7 feet 4 and 5. And we are also blue. And then you have what you call your tall whites. And then you have your the darker Pleiadian look, almost Asian looking. As the Arcturians have so many different types of Arcturians and colors of their skins and cultures, so it is with the Pleiadians. I am speaking from the planet Maya, and as I said, we are blue, we are tall, we are peaceful, we are community minded and live with a community minded lifestyle. And we are helping you through providing different modalities of healing. And not only that we come and we heal you, but look around you to the question of, can we do healing? There are so many healing modalities around you where you live online at this moment that we have to some degree helped create over time for your healing. So yes, I do heal. Yes, we do heal in many ways. But that healing also comes through the modalities already provided for you. So reach out for that. I am done.
Okay, thank you. There's a question from Laue. She says, I was contacted by two people from Maya, but my waking memory of the encounter is not complete, but there was a lot of laughter. I'm sending my love to you and whoever that was I was contacted by. I hope my waking memories of these kinds of encounters improve, but until then, you have all my love. I don't think there's a question, but maybe you have something to comment on that.
Yes. Well, I am happy, and I don't know how you know they were from Maya, whether they identified themselves or not, but we do have many social events, and there are many humans who come in astral form to participate as well. And there are some of you who have avatar counterparts. You have bodies which are in the fourth dimension. And when you sleep, your spirit goes and enters that particular avatar body, which is meant just for you. And you are in your fourth dimensional thinking at this point and understanding so that it is easy to mix in and understand each other. The language, sometimes you need translation. Sometimes language, the device when you are there is what I mean. Sometimes if it is simply social, it is not always necessary to have that device, but for those who wish it, we give it to them. Some of you have been coming so often that you have learned the language to enough degree to be able to interact as well. So there are many levels of visitation that we can speak of, and you have been, sounds like, in a very nice social environment, and it will continue as long as you wish. I am sure that you do other work as well to assist us in communicating and bringing information from what is going on in your world to inform us, and we can exchange and understand, and can continually adjust, our plans and our ascension work according to this information. So it is important for us to be able to communicate with you and those like you. And it will continue. And I'm happy that you have a memory, because many do not remember when they awake. This is a constant battle that not only us, but your Gurkviknir and others have about remembering. Sometimes it is, as I have said in the beginning, it is a matter of fear that you are not aware of that you have. You like the memory when you wake up, but there are others who may fear the actual memory of it, and so they block it. Or there is a lot of emotional clutter and clatter in when your astral is returning to your 3D being, or it is just by the time it flows down back to the 3D, there is no memory, because between the fourth dimension and the third dimension, it is not an open book. It is very difficult for us to see each other and to communicate, and much more than you would think. The differences are great. I am done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. There's a question from Autumn Rose. She says, please describe your world. Are your oceans blue? What color is your sky? Does it rain? Are there different species living in Maya? Is life peaceful?
We have a darker environment than yours. We do not have as much direct sunlight. So our colors are, you would say, pastels. We do have mountains and rivers and plantation life and plant life, and is what I meant to say. And we have our types of animals. We have communities. Our planet is very, very large. We have another kingdom. We have another kingdom. We have 4 kingdoms altogether. We are a very large planet, and one of our kingdoms is on one of our moons as well. We are mostly blue. There are different shades of blue among us. We have every age, as you can imagine. We have school systems. We have transportation systems. We have trade systems. We do have other races with us as well. We also have some very old three-dimensional beings who live, humans, who came to live with us, and they live in a separate place, and there is a dome, and they have their atmosphere, and this has been established many, many years ago. Even though now there is no allowance for humans to come to the different planets, we are also working on, as is Rukvik near, the ability to have this permission. We would need more three-dimensional areas like this. It is not as if you would be able to come here and breathe in our atmosphere and walk around our world. You would need first to come to an area. You would begin acclimating on the ships if you were to come here physically, and then you would be in first a third-dimensional area where you would slowly acclimate to the fourth dimensional realm, and then you could begin to venture out a little bit more. Do you see? It is not simply landing on the planet and having an easy time to get accustomed, but it is possible, and we are working on that for you. We have a very harmonious society. We have many different types of celebrations, and socializing is one of our most favorite things to do. So at the end of the day, when the politics have been done and the discussions and the planning, we gather. We gather, and or there are families who stay within their own family unit, but they will also gather with other families. There is a huge area that many are spread out in. So we cannot, it is not as if everyone gathers all together in the same place at the same time. But it is a very social, very joyful, very musical. We enjoy the beauty of our gardens, the music which comes out of our gardens, because here everything is experienced multidimensionally. We do not simply look at a flower, we feel the flower, we see the flower, we hear the flower, we telepathically connect and commune with the flower, just as an example. So it is very different, but there are those of you on Earth who are also able to do that. There are some who reach that level through very intense meditation and or fasting, and or with the aid of certain chemicals that they take into their bodies. That has to be done carefully, because you need to be able to, in your 3D world, you cannot get totally lost in a multidimensional life, or you cannot function well. What I mean by that is there are some who cannot anymore come back and feel the ground beneath them and connect to their practical life that they were living, and how to survive. That is what I mean. It is a beautiful thing to be able to, in your daily life, if you can go into a certain, now meditation does not have to be silence and very serious, but it is also a way to connect to the multiple dimensions within your own being, and to connect to the multi dimensions which are around you as well. It is a wonderful thing, and I recommend to try it. I do. And I know that many of you do already and have, and many of you have not. I am done. Is there anyone in your room that has a question? Or have we lost the internet?
Sorry, I keep pushing my thing. I wasn't unmuting. There's more questions,
well.
but they're not from the, let's see, 1 second. Okay, Christine was having a
That is an
conversation with someone.
unusual situation. I have observed many of your webinars. It is usually the room that has more questions and the background that doesn't. And today it is reversed.
Today
it is simply
reversed. Let's see. Jorma has a question. He says, Zorro of Hollow Earth told that all the weapons will be in an unfunctional state when the ETs are coming down. Have you heard this?
I have not understood the question. Can you please repeat it?
Apparently the question is, will weapons work when the ETs decide to come down? As someone called Zora of Hollow Earth told, or I guess it was a channeled message, that the weapons will not be functional when the ETs are coming. Is this true, or have you heard this?
Well, I have not heard that particular saying. Our plan is that when we do come, there will be no weapons necessary. There will be no feeling of the need to even prepare them, because there will be a very, very long-standing diplomatic relation set up before we even arrive. We are not going to arrive and set up diplomatic relations. We are setting up diplomatic relations long before we arrive. We are not planning to come, you see, and be a, how should I explain this?
Target?
It's important for us to get the agreement and the permission from your leaders, as well as from the people themselves, or the people who are not in direct leadership positions. As a matter of fact, we will not just massively arrive because a certain amount of humans say, now you must come and you must wipe out our governments and destroy all the corruption. It does not work quite in that way. You are all co-creators with God, and you are responsible for creating your godlike selves, as we are responsible for creating our godlike selves. We cannot come and just decide to push ourselves on your leadership who are not ready. Our job is to help them to become ready, and your job is to grow and also help yourselves and us to become ready to meet you. However, the fourth dimensional principles, galactic principles, are, in your terms, highly, highly ethical and very pure. If you want us to come, your lifestyles, your heart, your mind, your compassion, your ability to be enlightened, so to speak, and to breathe in the love of God and breathe in the love of the higher dimensions, and to give that love further out. This is part of the contact. If we come, what do you think we are coming? To make you a member of our galactic community. This means that your overall mentalities are ones of true peace, true ability to love, and to be serving in a symmetrical, that is the wrong word, in a symbiotic relationship to all around you. As in your nature and how it functions, everything gives out and it flows back, out and flow back, out and flow back. And so when your lifestyles and mentalities are community minded, are flowing and giving and receiving, and in a community mindedness, when you see those who are in an addiction and you think, oh, they must go to some recovery place, which is set up and they pay money, or maybe they don't, but it is someone else's responsibility. But in a community mindset, all become the responsibility of all, and all help each other on their path to grow. Your mindset as a human race is getting there, but it is not yet there where we are just going to come down and do a dance together. No, there is growth on your part towards us and our mentality and lifestyle, not because it is better in the sense of having more value. You are just as loved by God as we are, but you are still in many ways in the elementary school. And so when you graduate, then you go on to college and university, and you go out and manifest yourself into the world. Well, we are waiting to manifest with you out into the galactic brotherhood, sisterhood, neighborhood. Look around, look at yourself, ask yourself, are we ready for first contact in this way? And you will have to admit that no, we are not. We're not going to come down and suddenly you're all going to be good in this, what you consider good, or the things that I've just described. It's not going to happen automatically just because you see ships. This is what people feel in your world. If the ships come down, everybody surrenders and changes, and there is peace on earth. No. If that was the way it could be, it would have been done by now. If it was that simple. You were created to be creators. When you are out in the galactic neighborhood, you are going to be creators. You are going to be co-creators. There are some people who you would not, that you know, who you would not want to give that responsibility to, would you? And so we as well, we watch your earth. There are those who are very much on that level. And so, as it has been said, there are some of you who can live a very ascended life, even though you are still on your planet, in your 3D world, you can still feel the connection, the love, peace, the unconditional understanding, the lack of judgment. It is the ability to look at all things without judgment. This does not mean discernment. Discernment and judgment are two different things, but you know what I mean by judgment. To say you do this sometimes automatically because you do not quite know who you are, and so it is easier to judge around, but this is one aspect of your 3D life and that needs to be evolved. There's so much evolution that needs to happen within your spirits still. But there are many who are also reaching for and reaching out to that point. So it is not hopeless. There is much light and there is much connectivity of light, but help each other, please. Help each other. Even within your light communities, we see that there is not this community. There is sometimes even a hostile environment. Someone will share among you of something that has happened to them, and then they are, as you say, shot down. You, as a community, as light workers in general, and all over the world, I'm not just speaking now of you and your group who I'm speaking to, that there is much, much improvement to be done before we are just going to come down. It is not that easy. And I hope that I have answered your question. I am sure that I have gone off on some tangent. Forgive me.
That's okay. We're really at the top of the hour, so we're going to tell you thank you so very much for being here, but we're really at the end of the webinar.
Very well. I am very happy to go, as I was happy to come. No worries there, as you say.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay. Much love to all of you, and we will hopefully speak again.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Okay.
So for
You're
everyone
welcome.
who's interested
Was
in
he-
getting in touch with you, your information is in the information in the description of the YouTube. So people can find you either on the hucalo.org website in the sessions area, or there's your email is listed there, and they can come to you for channeling sessions, but also for the emotional code sessions as well. Is that correct?
Yes, and I'd like to, yes, emotion code I want to show you that I have other codes here, which I also use for healing. These are galactic codes, which
Okay.
are through the pendle for healing. I want to say, I think Maggie can attest to this, that most of the beings who come through are very gentle. I think he was, I hope that wasn't too, that he wasn't like yelling at people. Did you feel he was yelling at you? But
No,
he was.
I think I personally agree with most. I mean, I personally have the same opinion
Yeah.
as I can't say his name, Quaea'a,
Quaea'a.
Quaea'a,
Yeah.
but I have the same opinion. I have the same opinion. People think that aliens are coming to save us. They are not coming to save us. They will come when our earth reflects the invitation that
Mhm.
that shows that we're ready to be colleagues of theirs. And until that happens, it's just not going to happen. And that's just my opinion. And I don't want to get into it. And that can be upsetting for people, but I think that that's the truth. And so I think that your friend there was saying basically all that stuff. So
Yes. Now,
I'm of the same opinion personally. Yeah.
yes, yes, I understand it that way as well. Now, what many of the beings do, they do try to quote unquote save us in our daily lives. Right? There's so much advice, there's so many writings, there's so much
Sure.
information, there's so much love, there's healing.
But it's our
So
work
they
to
are
do.
trying
Yeah, but
to
it's our work.
bring us to that point.
They're
I'm
giving
sorry,
us
go ahead.
they're giving us good tips, but it's really like
Yes,
we still have to do the work, and it doesn't
yes,
start when they arrive. And
yes,
you know the thing
yes,
is everyone is trying to figure out how to get them here, but really we should be figuring out how to make our world better and take care of our fellow man. And when that becomes the priority, the alien thing, it's a nice to have, but they'll show up
hmm
because that's who we've become, and not this, what can I
hmm
do to get the aliens here? Well, you could feed your the starving guy on the end of the street. You could plant some trees. You could not litter. You don't kick your dog. I mean, there's things, they all add up. So yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah. So,
yes.
but that's,
So I just,
that's it. People are trying to figure out a way that they can, get the aliens here. But the key is we need to figure out a way to make our world receptive, but not only for aliens, but for the people that are here on the planet that need
yes,
us, whose
yes,
basic needs aren't met, who starve in the street, who don't have human rights, all of those
yes,
things. When we
yes,
perfect that, then the aliens will come, I believe.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I
Yeah.
just want to thank you. And I just want to say he spoke with great passion. I could feel his passion and his love while he was saying it. But most of the beats that I channel, are physical and have a lot to do with emotional healing and understanding things that are happening and things like that. It's not always that strong.
Well,
Yeah.
sometimes it's good. It's good as a how do you say, as a difference, because it gets your attention then,
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Karen. Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody. It was
So
wonderful. Does
thank
anybody
you,
want
everyone. Does
a
anyone want to
blessing?
end with a blessing? Does someone want to do a blessing on the way out? Anyone? Anyone? Hands up. Put your hands in the air like you don't care. Deb?
I can do it.
Okay. Who's that? Who said that?
Dawn.
Dawn? Okay. I got to see if I can see everybody's hands. Okay. Is it Jonathan? Did you put your hand up or no? No. Okay. He didn't. He's running from the camera. Okay. That's the only people that I see with the. Okay. Go ahead, Don. You can do it. And then Sephira can do one on the way out too.
Wahisat na wahikata shna wayashintalisi na kautura takashintike ana moy kanta nedo ana mahona katana.
Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay. How about you, Karen? Doesn't have to be light language, could be anything. Would you like to do one?
Sure. I'll just do a little one. Shaliana masukarera seta kora mayalar komia ditashi alarasom barria lersiti kupia kambalare. Namaste.
Namaste. Very beautiful. Okay, I think that's good. All right, everybody. I won't do a blessing. I think that was beautiful where you ended with Karen. That's great. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, well, I guess we're done. So
We're
once
done.
again, Sephira's information is in the description. Please like and subscribe to this video. Next week there will be no webinar, but if you're interested in the magic class, Ian, what's the email address? Oh, I don't hear him. You're muted.
Unmute Ian.
aspeed469@gmail.com.
Right. You can mail for Angie to still sign up for the webinar. I mean, for the magic class, and it will be back in 2 weeks with Jim. And if you have nothing to do next week and you don't want to do the magic class, please go over to Kevin Moore's channel and watch. They call us channelers, the ongoing docuseries on channelers, and Jim is featured there. And there's a lot of other good channelers, but watch Jim's. So, all right, everyone, much love to you, and we will see you.
Thank you, Karen, for being here. Thank you,
Thank
Don, for
you.
helping.
And
Thank you, everybody.
Sephira and Dawn. Yeah, of course. Thank you, Sephira.
Bye.
I should have said that first. Thank you. All right.
Okay.
Bye.